Okay, folks, it's 7 o'clock, or actually 7:01. I'd like to call this February 28th Board of Supervisor meeting to order. Please rise to the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag. Pledge of allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we go into a moment of silence, for those who don't know, former Supervisor Sharon Cole did pass away a few days ago, so if you would keep the husband Terry and family in your prayers, that would be much appreciated. Services, I understand for her is next Thursday, March 9th, is it? Right? 11 o'clock in the morning, East Weston Church. So, yeah, Sharon was a supervisor here. Keep the family in your prayers, would be appreciated. And please join for a moment of silence. Do we have any citizen participation at this time? And this is 4 items on the agenda. Hearing none. Moving on to approval of the minutes. So the first one is to rescind the previous motion and approve the December 13th, 2022 minutes. And that was because Brad was not here for that meeting. And so should not have approved, made the motion. So I'll make a motion to approve those minutes. Do we have a second?
I will second.
Motion passes, or minutes are approved.
You abstain.
Not.
Brad's abstained.
Do they need to rescind that
Yes.
other motion? Make a motion to rescind and
Okay.
then to.
Okay.
Between the two of you, and it's fine to do it now, even after.
Okay.
I thought when you said you rescind that, that's what you were gonna do first too, but that's
Okay,
okay, you can
okay.
do it now. Yeah.
So, motion to rescind that approval of those minutes. I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Brad abstains. Okay, are we good?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, thank you. And thank you. Yeah, sorry, you catch that. Previously. Comments on what's that?
Okay, never mind.
We're good?
We're good.
Okay. So approval of the January 24th meeting minutes. Do we have a motion to approve those minutes? Brad makes the motion. Sean?
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye. Minutes are approved. Persons to be heard. Lauren Eichelberger.
Hi.
Lauren?
Yes. Good evening.
Good evening.
Hi. My name is Lauren Eichelberger. I am the current district attorney here in Perry County. I have been in the district attorney's office for what will be 8 years this July. Everything I know about prosecuting crimes I learned in Perry County. In fact, my entire legal career is in this county. I grew up here too, but I'm ultimately a graduate of East Penn High School after moving in with my grandmother due to some health concerns that she had at the time. But if you are familiar with the Eichelberger name, you may know the Eichelbergers on Flowers Lane, and those are my relatives. Herb is granddad. Herbie is my dad. He's the only one that didn't build on that side of the mountain. After graduating high school, I went on to New York for college and then Villanova Law. And when I graduated there, I came back home to Perry County and got my first job in the courthouse, clerking for Judge Morrow and Judge Mumau at the time. I met my husband at the same time as well. He is a probation officer at the county and has been for over 10 years. We have a home in Newport where we live with our 2 dogs, our 2 cats, and our 2 kids, Noah and Lily. And I am a member of the Main Street Committee in Newport. I'm a member of the Chamber of Commerce. And I don't know if you've ever been to the coffee shop on the square called Buffalo Brew in Newport, but I jokingly say I pay their rent because I'm there every day for a coffee. When I got out of law school, I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do with my law degree, but I knew I wanted to work with women and children. And so when I had a chance to get into the district attorney's office in 2015, I leapt at the opportunity. There's only 2 attorneys in the office at that time, so it's kind of an all-hands-on-deck situation, and so I got my first child sexual assault case. The case that might have made me shy away from criminal law in law school ultimately became my soul fire here in Perry County. There is something kind of amazing to participating in the process of empowering a kid to walk into a room full of strangers and talk about the worst thing that's ever happened to them, because that's what we do. And so I've dedicated the last 8 years of my career to working with victims like that and victims in all of the cases that I've handled to make them feel like they have a more active role, that they're more empowered throughout this process, and maybe by the end of this process, they don't feel like victims at all. I've taken that with me into my role as district attorney in the past 1.5 years, and it's with that in mind that I kind of think about the 3 overarching things that I worked towards as district attorney this past year. First of all, be a prosecutor. Communicate effectively and honestly and often. Include the people who are involved in the case. Make sure they know what to expect moving forward. Help shape the narrative. And ultimately, seek justice for all. It was with that in mind that when I found out that we had some cold cases with unidentified victims, I applied for grant money, and we were awarded John Doe. We're still waiting to hear on Jane, and we're going to extract their DNA, and we're going to find out who they are, because I want to know who they are, and I want to know what happened to them, and I want their families to know what happened to them, because even if that's the worst answer, they're not left wondering any longer. And I want the criminal investigation to uncover the people responsible for committing those crimes, because I want to meet those people too. And that kind of leads me to my second overarching goal, and that is having a good relationship and fostering those relationships with the agencies that I work every day. Pennsylvania State Police, probation, school districts, children and youth. It's important to have good relationships with those people, not because I think we need to be best friends, but I think that we need to have open lines of communication and be honest with one another as we work towards our common goal and, frankly, our job of combating crime in this community together. And that leads me to my third overarching goal, which is the idea that these agencies and the district attorney's office have a good relationship with you, the community, and help support the public ideals in which you are invested in. The Pennsylvania State Police have really kind of hit the ground running with quarterly meetings with school districts, which I attend, and it's kind of amazing to participate in those because you see them working with the schools collectively towards safety issues. You hear about troopers in the schools so that you find the kids are, find them a little bit more approachable, and at the same time, they're getting the layout of the inside of the building because God forbid something should happen, and now it's in their head and they don't have to learn it in the moment of an emergency. We've also embraced the FBI's push for a threat assessment task force, which is a multidisciplinary team on which I sit that helps identify at-risk individuals before bang. So we're talking about mass shootings. We started that task force this year, and we're really working towards helping identify those at-risk people and making sure that when we do identify those people, we have the resources they need so they don't commit that unfortunate choice in this county. And lastly, but most exciting to me, when I was a kid and I went home boo-hooing at night about whatever would happen at school or dance that day, my mom would say, "What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it?" And I thought, okay, what am I going to do about it? And that's kind of how I've lived my life. So when I heard from the community that you wanted help talking to your kids about drugs and alcohol, I thought, okay, what am I going to do about it? So I asked the schools to invite me in. I've had the opportunity to go and speak to a few of the students and talk about what it is to be a district attorney, make myself accessible as a public official, what it takes to bring a criminal case through the criminal process, but at the same time talking about what I experience every day, which is drugs and alcohol. So we get to have a meaningful conversation about that, about perspective, and the idea that someone can get 7 years down a path and still not be able to quite figure it out and get off that roller coaster. And in those meetings, the kids have filled out anonymous surveys about their experiences with drugs and alcohol. We have forums coming for parents this year, so we can say, this is what our kids in Perry County are saying about drugs and alcohol. And I'm working with another group of kids to help facilitate that conversation, because you asked me to help talk to your kids about drugs and alcohol, and so we got the kids involved. We're gonna try and help talk to them about drugs and alcohol. I consider myself a highly energetic and motivated person. I embraced a hobby when I was 9 years old that requires 14-hour days. So I'm okay with 4 p.m. not being the end of my day. That's kind of more my speed. But what I think that should tell you more about me is the fact that I am a highly motivated individual, and I have the ability to highly focus my energy and attention on something I care deeply about. And I care deeply about this job. I love this job. It's important that this job be done well. I think I have done this job well in the last year, and I'm here asking for your support tonight because I'd like to continue doing just that in the upcoming election. So I thank you for your time this evening, and I am still collecting signatures on my petition to get my name on the ballot, because that is still something that I have to do even though I'm in this position. But other than that, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lauren. Okay, we are joined by two gentlemen from our Pennsylvania State Police, Lieutenant Tallman and, I'm sorry, Corporal, I missed your last name.
Miller.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me come down. I know the last time I was here, I think, was back in May. So I had just gotten a Newport, and I was still trying to get my bearings as to what was going on in Perry County and in Rye Township. So been at Newport now for almost 10 months, and it's a very busy station. I have a complement of about 25 troopers, give or take a few, and that's not including my criminal investigators or my supervisors. We cover the entire county, except for Marysville. They're a part-time department. But from Louisville all the way to New Germantown, Blaine, Eichelberger, Landisburg, we cover everything up here in Perry County. So my station, the members are very busy. In 2022, we handled 13,100 calls, and that includes anything from a domestic to taking somebody's driver's license to a burglary, theft, DUI crash, DUI, and that's encompassing all of Perry County plus Rye Township. We cover a little portion of the bridge down there at Clark's Ferry. So over 13,000 calls. So it's a very busy station. We run from call to call some nights. It can be very, very busy for the members up there. There's not a lot of downtime. In 2022, we made 422 DUI arrests. That's up from 354 the prior year. So just, this is county-wide stats. Then I'll get into the Rye Township. But in countywide in 2022, we handled 2,577 criminal offenses. So that's requiring a report. That's a theft, a burglary, a property crime, a crime against a person. Out of those, we made 1,247 arrests. We had 70 DUI crashes, which remained, in 2021 we had 69 DUI crashes, and we went up one. I can't explain why we're making more DUIs, but I can't explain why we're having the same number of DUI crashes. You would think that would go down, but I think it's because our troopers are more trained now in DUI detection, and a lot of our DUIs we're seeing are drug related, not necessarily just the traditional alcohol related DUIs, but we're seeing a big increase in DUIs that are drug related. So I think that number could be our members are more trained now for drug detection, DUIs, and I know at one point we had 4 drug recognition experts at the station. I lost 2 of them due to specialized positions or transfers, so right now I'm at 2 DREs at the station. But 2022 we had 704 crashes, and out of those 704, 70 of them were DUI related. So now in Rye Township, we responded down here 298 times in 2022. 53 of those rose to a criminal offense, again, a burglary, theft, something crime related, either part 1 or part 2 offense. We had 62 traffic stops, 27 crashes, and 9 of those were non-reportable, so really there was like 18 or 19 crashes that were reportable in year 2022. When I first got to Newport back in April, the end of April, looking at some of our prophecy or hotspots in Rye Township, we had 19 crashes from like November, December up till May. along Valley Road. So with that information, I just come down here to the township meeting and discussed the issues on Valley Road. So I implemented, I had our troopers coming out here at least once or twice a day for like a 6-month window. And it wasn't necessarily just to run, do enforcement, it was just to be visible, having a marked car sit out there. So we went from 19 crashes in May. Again, this is going back 6 months, then just the 2 crashes in September. So in 2022, we had 17 total crashes on Valley Road. And since May, we've only had 12, which is more like an 8-month window. So there has been a reduction in crashes out here. Valley Road is the majority of Rye Township's crashes. And unfortunately, it's tough for us for enforcement because there's not a lot of areas to pull people over in a safe area. So we have to be very cautious. We have to select our areas, and there's not a whole lot out there where we can definitely sit out there and slow people down, but it's trying to find a place to safely pull someone over, not only for the trooper safety, but also the citizen. Out of the 298 calls, a lot of these were welfare checks, harassments, with physical contact. By the way, there's 2 different, you have a physical contact and then you also have verbal harassment. So those were 15 physical contact harassments. We had 9 domestics. Domestics that usually, a domestic, what we call a domestic other, doesn't rise to a level of somebody getting arrested. It's usually two people in an intimate relationship or a household member that get into a verbal argument. Maybe some things are thrown around the house, but it's common property. It's not really criminal mischief, but it's. So the other domestics are stuff where the trooper shows up, we kind of like decompress or like de-escalate the situation, and nobody gets arrested. There was no visible injury on either party, so we call it another domestic. So we had 9 of those in the township. And then a lot of them were single-digit type incidents, the thefts, burglaries, DUI crashes. But for the most part, it's welfare checks for some reason, and then what we call a C officer, where somebody can call the barracks because they think they're the victim of a crime or they have a question about something. We show up and we interact with the complainant, but it doesn't rise to we determine that no crime occurred. Pretty much all I have as far as the stats go for 2022. The county as a whole is very busy. As I said, over 13,000 calls. Rye Township is not our biggest customer, fortunately. I will tell you that Penn Township, Duncannon, Shermansdale, Newport, those are hot spots in the county. You get from New Bloomfield and you go west, and that's very quiet out there. 11 to 15 has been an issue this past year. I went to the District 8 office and had them implement, they did a study out here on 11 to 15 from Little Cove up to Perdix, and they are going to be implementing some new traffic signs and some new safety measures to help improve that roadway. In August, we had like 27 crashes out there. So like a 2-month window, we had like 27 crashes out there. Same program we instituted, we had troopers sitting out there and we reduced it down to 1 crash. But I was just looking at hot spots in the county and seeing what those are and seeing where we can put troopers just to increase visibility, get voluntary compliance from the motor public. So 11 to 15 is always busy, and 322 is also especially during Penn State traffic and holiday traffic with the students coming and going from Penn State. But Rye Township, you guys are doing a great job. It's not overly busy down here, but that's a good thing.
Most of the deer accidents, probably. Saw some on my way. Yeah.
Any questions for me?
I was gonna ask, does anybody have any questions?
I don't have a question, but I want to thank you. I see you guys out here more than I ever did, and thank you very much, all you guys.
Thanks for your support, and happy we can help. That's when I was talking to Corporal Brent Miller, is one of my new corporals. You may know him, he used to be our department PIO, so he's all over the state. So he's one of my new corporals here at Newport Station, but we were talking about that, and I enjoy coming out to these township meetings because I kind of get my thumb on the pulse of the county. We have 31 municipalities in the county, actually 30. We have, the other one is Rye Township and Dolphin. But that was my goal when I got here, was I wanted to try to get to each individual municipality in the county. And I've been trying to do 3 or 4 visits a month, and it is a great thing. I get my thumb on the pulse on a lot of stuff, seeing what the concerns are in the county. So
I have a question. I
I was just reading the rural communication that we get, it's a little newsletter, and I was surprised that Perry County, like Lauren was talking about drug and alcohol, the overdoses are very high in Perry County compared to some surrounding counties.
I think that was the case at one point.
Is
Based
it
on what I'm
coming
seeing, I'm not seeing, yes, we are having overdoses, that's happening everywhere. But I don't think it's as bad as some other counties. I think now all of our troopers are equipped with Narcan, also EMS. So I think that's playing a role in helping keeping the numbers down. So we are still responding to drug overdoses, but I don't think they'll result in a fatality. Those numbers have
Okay.
remained.
They don't, no, it didn't say that it was a fatality, it just said the overdoses.
Okay.
Yeah. The overall, they did the whole state, and I thought, oh, Perry County's gonna be low, but it wasn't. And I was surprised.
No, we have our share of drug issues in the county, for sure.
I think it's a little bit harder when you're in a rural area because sometimes it's harder. Sometimes I don't wanna wax poetic, but I do feel like sometimes it's hard to ask for help when you need it sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And we're a bit of a resilient community, and sometimes when we don't ask when we need it. I think that's a little bit part of it.
Do you make a lot of drug arrests for the people that sell this stuff?
We try to.
That's tough.
A lot of the drugs come from the Harrisburg area.
Really?
And a lot of those cases require the help of the people involved, and nobody wants to give up their fix, to be completely frank.
Well, what she's doing and you're doing, you know, like, I told them, my sister-in-law worked at the VA. And I didn't know anything about drugs, and she worked in the section that veterans that were on drugs. And she said that veterans that took heroin, 90% of, that's 80, she said 80% of them died. She said they could come in there and get treatment, leave, and you'd think they were good, and they'd come back. She said, I wish we could tell people, especially children, that don't, you know, you have to stay away from that. She says, but I don't know how to do it. You know?
I think that leads me to my question in general for the county as a whole. Are we doing anything to improve mental health awareness or training or education amongst those service members like yourself, or even, you know, county resources, I know, to enable mental health awareness and aid that during these situations, right? It's not always drug related necessarily, or it is like a post-drug situation or somebody that needs the resource that they haven't been willing to reach out for
So,
in rural communities.
if I may. At the last school district meeting, one of the things that they talked about was a program, and I don't know a lot about it, so I'm not the expert, but that there's a program that gets an online counseling set up with the kid, but that not only does it access the child, but it accesses the family too. So if there are other members of the family that, like, if there's, you know, what we're finding is, hey, there's someone who's struggling, a lot of times their support system is struggling too. And so I found that pretty awesome that not only were they getting counseling to the kids, it was also being open to the family.
I think that's the preventative maintenance measure prior to drug seeking. It's the mental health awareness and the check-in systems that if they're not using those or can't get to those resources, often they tend to fall into drugs. And that's more of like a preventative measure, right?
Yeah. And I know at the state level, there's also resources available
Sure.
to assist. Any other questions?
No?
All right, well, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for what you did.
Hey, thanks for coming.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Welcome to the best.
All right, see you.
Okay, next up is Tara Davis and Josh
Cleveland, yeah.
Cleveland?
Hi, thank you. I'm Tara Davis. Josh Cleveland is my business associate. He's not here. He was a little under the weather, but I did bring my engineer, John Mellon. So we are here on behalf of a little adventure I decided to truck down. I'm again, my name is Tara Davis. I'm a community member of Marysville Borough, but long time member of Perry County. I've grown up here my entire life, lived in Shermansdale, graduated from West Perry, moved down to Marysville Borough when I became became old enough to branch out on my own, and I've since planted roots. My children are 12 and, I'm sorry, wow, almost 14 and 11. That's my dog. Time flies. And, you know, me putting roots in Marysville has been an honor. I love it here. We have no intent on ever going anywhere else. We love it. They'll probably stay here forever, hopefully. But the reason why I'm here particularly tonight is I'm also a realtor in the community. I serve the greater Harrisburg area, central Pennsylvania, Perry County when I can, right? But as a whole, I see that, and my business partner Josh sees the need for the influx of better priced homes or affordable, we'll call them affordable housing. I think that's a fair term, right? We don't have enough housing to support the families that are in need here. In Perry County, often, the homeless rate went up last year. I think it was somewhere close around Christmas time, around 16 families. I'm constantly seeing on my resource groups in the area, families reaching out for assistance to find or relocate to more apartments. There's a lack of those. Anything you consider when it comes to real estate or the amount of available housing to keep people in our communities and in our county, it's just a lack thereof. The community and the township support to build out a small affordable housing community. To what scale would be questionable. It's a corner that's a little scary, so we understand that there's some issues and concerns there. We understand that affordable doesn't have to come with any kind of stigma. We want to make sure we respect the community standards and the bylaws that are written in the zoning ordinances, right? We want your feedback. We want to know what it is we can and cannot march forward with. So John has the plans. Ms. Daisy, mentioned to bring some mapping, some plans, some just tentative. Absolutely.
I can do that.
John can kind of further explain where we've gotten to so far. Nothing's permanent. If it's squashed, and we move on. I won't stop trying to figure out how to help the community. At this point, we want some general feedback on whether this is something that could potentially be supported if we go through the necessary strides of variances and zoning that we would need. So, right? You want to take it from there, maybe?
You have a long agenda,
Yes.
and we're here to test an idea. And if it would please the board, we would be happy to stand down until you're through with your agenda. And we have a little more time perhaps. I don't want to keep people waiting on this. We don't expect to get much done with you tonight. We'd just like to float this idea out.
Right.
I'm John Melham. I'm not an engineer. I'm a licensed landscape architect. I
Thank you.
employ engineers, I employ surveyors, I employ an architect, and lots of people. And my company is Melham Associates PC. I don't think whoever wrote that, they just made a simple mistake. There is no Melham and Yost. We've been around since 1985. I'm not giving you a career thing here, but we've done communities in big communities throughout Pennsylvania and 2 other states. We practice in about 6 states. And I've had all kinds of clients come in from the military to religious to developers. And about a month and a half ago, in comes this young lady with this idea of small, affordable houses, not Section 8, not apartments. She's the first client that ever came to us that wants something downsized and truly affordable. And I was struck by her zeal to do it. I was impressed by her credentials with the Greater Harrisburg Board of Realtors. My wife, who's retired now, she was once president of that body. And so she said, we'd like to, in my community, I'd like to do this. And I said, well, it's a new thing for us. We do all kinds of, 600, 700 acre, $400,000, $600,000 stuff. Here's quite the opposite end of the spectrum. I've gone through, and again, we have some plans to show you, but let me be premature. Let me just say that your ordinance, like most, doesn't have a specific provision for this. And as I went through your ordinances, we'd have to cherry pick from this, cherry pick from that, quite openly and obviously, because there's no way we can get something like this approved without, nor would we want to even try it without your blessing. I can show you a plan that we have, but it's just an idea. And it shows,
Do you want to continue?
I'm not sure what they can do, what,
yeah,
it's
Well-
even with without anything formal, you know, to start, I don't even know what a blessing or anything.
right,
Well, if
Right.
I can interject.
Go ahead.
whatever.
The planning commission, they came before us
Okay.
Sure.
last month. And the general consensus of the planning commission was, okay, that we saw the preliminary plans and so forth, and it's maybe not the best setup, maybe not the worst setup, but it's a start. We'll just leave it at that. And the general consensus of the planning commission was, well,
I know where you're.
why don't you approach the supervisors and get a read on what, even the level of not commitment, but just
Behind the drawing.
run the ideas by them and see what kind of feedback you would get. And that's why
No,
we're
it'd be
here.
further down.
Thank you, Mr. Fetter, I appreciate that.
Yeah,
That,
and I,
It's the only reason we're here,
Okay.
and
Is it on this
I
side?
think what,
This side of Flowers Lane?
it's gonna be somewhere down here, but
Yeah, that's right.
we have a better map of it.
Yeah.
it may or may not be at this spot.
Yes.
It's that open to, so what are we after here? What I'd like to do, I'd like to request on behalf of our clients is that we, and we're prepared to pay for the privilege of meeting with your staff, getting advice, spending some time with them, your zoning officer, your engineer, et cetera, and explore the potential of what parts of the ordinance we would borrow from, what changes might be necessary. That's all we're asking for tonight, is some sort of, that's the only approach I can think of in all the years I've been misspending my life doing this kind of work. It's the
I mean, that
only-
usually does, meeting with, you know, zoning officer, engineer, whatever, to figure out, you know, moving forward, you know, and what may be necessary, especially the zoning officer saying, hey, this is gonna need this, and then you would have certain rights to go, you know, from there, but I think that would be something more than just,
those are things that can be addressed.
you know, as compared to just.
Yes, so meeting with our engineer and zoning officer, certainly, I would think that we should not be
Right, I
meeting
mean,
with
they're
them.
gonna
One,
be more
because
helpful, they're gonna be more helpful, and
Right.
that happens, you know, in townships and everything, ones that I have, you know, I mean, that's how you start developing, you know, especially after that, figuring out what is, you know, necessary and that type of
I
thing.
think it's also crucial for me personally to just note that being that I'm in a contract that is in its due diligence period, I don't have all the time in the world not to push or rush, but I'm limited on whether I'm going to move forward with the purchase of the land itself and even think on this project then thereafter, and you know, I only have a certain period of time. It's 60 days and I'm more than halfway through that. My partner and I are. So with that being said, I think it's, you know, we've tried to navigate to figure out where we need to be and who we need to talk to get to X, Y, Z in the early stages of whether we can even think about doing a project of this nature. And we would appreciate just to know diligently what our next steps are and how
I think that, because those are the new ones, I think.
And the-
Also say what would be necessary and even opinions with regard to
right.
that.
Otherwise, I have to quash it for now.
Right, and actually, of all the people that the three most important people that you need to talk to would be the zoning officer, our township engineer, but the probably most important person that you need to speak with, and maybe at length, would be the SEO, the sewage enforcement officer.
Sure.
That is probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest
That's the
hurdle for
biggest
that
hurdle,
property.
Yeah, because of where the water.
And so, I mean, that would be
Sure.
probably the first That would be the most important person to talk to right off the bat.
Have you reached out to any of those folks? at
I
this
wasn't.
point?
I was informed to do stage one,
Sure,
stage
sure.
two, so I really didn't know, yeah.
Yeah.
Understood, Bob has a comment.
Well, I'm not a realtor, and I'm not making any money off this either way. But we have ordinances to protect the rural environment. I've been around long enough and I see where there's smaller houses and things, and crime starts going up, and other things happen. So I really think she knew what she was getting into when she got involved in this property. And as a citizen, lifelong, I don't appreciate people coming here and trying to ram these things down their throat. I don't appreciate it.
I appreciate your comment, Bob. I don't hear them ramming anything down. I appreciate
Actually,
you
if I
respectfully coming
might
here
just
and
comment on that, all due respect, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I've been an owner of a property in town for over 15 years. I've raised my daughters here as a single mom, solely providing for them by myself, and I do own 23 more acres of rural land out the valley that I will not touch.
I don't care how
Protect
much
our
land
society.
you have. I don't
I
want to see it
understand your
build up.
concern.
Yeah.
This is
I
2
think-
acres.
Yeah, we can't have a back and forth.
Sure.
This is not the forum.
So it
for
really
I
isn't,
appreciate-
I
let's move on to the
understand
next.
your, I do, and I respect that.
Yeah, you're a realtor. You're making
Okay,
money.
okay.
Well, actually, these are so affordable, I might not even break even.
Okay, let's move on to the next.
Yeah.
Which again brings me to the point of, if this isn't going to, I mean, it's all about timing and budget and whether I would even be able to afford myself moving forward,
May I add something there?
or I'll squash it
Please,
and.
yeah.
Yeah,
Look
on
for
behalf,
support
on
elsewhere.
behalf of our client,
Okay.
we heard, I've counseled her that her due diligence period is nothing to be concerned about.
Sure.
You can walk away anytime. The subject property she has in mind is handicapped from a number of points of view. I don't think there's a huge market for that piece of property. So I'm just saying this because I didn't want her comment to be misconstrued as any type of pressure or strain on anyone here, because nothing's gonna happen in 2 months.
No.
Nothing at all. We know that. This is a procedure that can take months to even get to the point where you gentlemen can consider something.
No, we didn't take it as, I didn't take
Thank
it as
you.
pressure, so no, you're good, you're good. Thank you for your time, we appreciate it.
Absolutely, so to take away, we need to be speaking to 3 other people, and
Wow.
it's going to be sewage enforcement.
Yeah, that'd be,
Zoning.
yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So I'll call you and connect with the
Yeah.
Yes, I
certain
can give you the
people.
contact information.
Awesome, thank you, appreciate it. Okay.
Thanks, Derek.
Thank
Good.
you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Moving on to municipal reports, zoning code enforcement.
Yeah.
Eco engineering, oh, so this is Brian. 2 items, New Valley Road and Fleischer Road, for a total of $280. Motion to approve payment of the bill for this.
So moved.
Second? All in favor? Aye. Sewage enforcement report, from Mike Sizer, 2 items. For a total of,
And some.
total of $192.50. That's a very light one, yeah.
January.
Yeah.
It's kind of slow for both of them usually. Anyone make a motion?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Thank you. I'll make a motion to approve payment of the bill.
I'll make a motion.
Well, I made the motion, you second?
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Get myself here. Road report, Brad?
Yes, the salt and cinder roads, mixed up salt and cinders, pressure washed the truck and backhoe, and repaired the auger and spinner for dump truck number 2 for oil leak. Cleaned down trees on New Valley, North Gap. And I don't know, install a stop sign, school bus sign at Mountain Road, New Valley. Install the new Lamb's Gap sign at the top of Lamb's Gap and Idle Road for request by citizens. And we welded, fixed the backhoe bucket as it was all rusted out. We welded plate in that. And we picked up chairs and new tables from the surplus store, and we cleaned up all that trash that somebody threw it out that we had no idea what's getting done with it.
Did we ever find out, yes, I think you had contacted the police.
Yeah.
Did we find out?
I just asked him before the meeting, that's what I asked him, and he said they are looking into it. They did follow through with the address, but apparently someone cleaned from that address. So they're following up, it's kind of,
Right, at the trail.
yeah, and they seem to know how to
That's what I had trouble with here, when they dump out here, our hands are tied, we can't get nothing done. I mean,
They don't want-
trash, yep. I was talking to
Oh,
them.
really?
You know, it's bad, I mean, it makes you like, you don't even wanna go out and do it, because the person that does it, they get off scot-free. You know, and then we waste time doing it, and we have to pay to get rid of it.
You're talking about scattering rubbish, and yeah, those are summary offenses. They don't make their way to my office, but I know what you're talking about.
Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know if
Scattering
they-
rubbish, that sounds like a really nice way to put it.
I think that's the technical term in the crimes code book.
it is actually what they did.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
had an old dump truck with it.
Yeah.
In fact, we got called out because they dumped it right in the road at rush hour. So we
So,
had to go scrape it off the backhoe.
I'm sorry, I just wanna make sure I understand what your complaint is. Are their cases resolving in a way that you're unsatisfied with, or,
Well, I think their hands are tied because the way it sounds, the person that did it.
our ability to prove it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And one last item, we've got, so folks know, we have a bill coming. What's the status of the F-550 that has a dead engine?
Yeah,
No status yet, no engine yet.
they can't find anyone, they can't find one yet.
Okay.
LB Smith has 12 of them down there.
12 truck, 12 trucks.
That all need,
They all need motors.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's what the guy told me.
where are we on the list?
He said that he's gonna help us out when they get a motor, they're gonna try to obsolete one to get us first.
Okay.
Whatever comes in.
But that's like an $18,000, $20,000 surprise. Wasn't counting on.
Any chance of going back on board?
Well, I'm on touch with them.
You're trying to,
Yep,
okay.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. Yeah,
Brad said LB called Ford, and then they advised that every customer called
Yeah.
Ford, so they did that.
LB Smith has been wonderful.
Okay, that's good,
They've been really good.
that's good.
They think there's something definitely.
Well, there's obviously some, if they've got 12 of them.
Well, Wheatfield Township went through three motors, and they said they're done with Ford. They said they switched to Dodge.
Ooh,
We're not going through that now. Three of them, three motors. Yep, motors. Drop valve.
Thanks for taking care of that, Brad.
That's it.
Diesel.
Moving on to rec board report, Nancy, do you have something for us?
Yes. This year we're adding, a Rye History Night with Brian Hummel. That will be our first event this year. And that is scheduled for April 13th at 7 p.m. here at the township office. And then our second event will be our fishing derby, our annual fishing derby. And that is held at the Marysville Sportsman Association. And that is scheduled for May 20th from 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. And I can't remember the age for the children. I think it's 3 to 14 can fish with their parents. And we'll have prizes and food and beverages for them at the event. And we have more events coming, but those are the only two I'll mention tonight.
Thanks, Nancy. Emergency management report, I don't see Mike or Jim here, did they?
I did not hear from them, no.
Okay. Financial treasurer's report, please, Daisy.
Balance began in the general checking at $50,524.09. Have receipts of $54,869.55. Expenditures of $52,150.05. $64.01 cents in interest, leaving us a balance February 1st in the general checking account at Mid-Penn Bank of $53,308.17. The general checking account at Penny and Bank had earning interest activity and had a balance February 1st of $2,303.60. American Rescue Plan Fund's money market account had earning interest activity and had a balance February 1st of $2,866.16, because all of the other money is invested. Bank of Landisburg General Savings Account had earning interest activity and had a balance February 1st of $2,512.57. Liquid Fuels Checking had earning interest activity and had a balance February 1st of $786.80. Liquid Fuels Savings Account had earning interest activity and had a balance February 1st of $2,666.42. I did receive notice that, and I was being round robin, that we tomorrow are getting our liquid fuels, and it's approximately $124,000. And that will be deposited tomorrow, and there is a resolution addressing that, so I can take it and invest it in the Easy Access CD to at least get several $100s worth of interest on it till we pay the bill for this year's projects. The auditors were in, the on-site visit is completed. I just sent something over yesterday to them. I think that's all, unless they ask for something. I have to wait for the third parties to get back to me too. So they may be waiting on something, a confirmation that I'm not aware of, but I think pretty much they have all their information now. And everything went very well. They kept us, Nancy and I, very busy for 2 days while they were here. It only took them 2 days. And then the next day, they're emailing me to send this, send that, and so, but it went well, and they're planning to present the report to the board at the April 25th meeting. I believe Tina Cornell will be here. I'm not sure on that, but I think she's usually the one that comes at the CPA that attends. I think that's all I have.
Okay, thanks, Daisy. Moving on to resolutions, so the first one we have is 2310, transfer Visa card cash back to Mid-Penn Bank checking.
Yes, we used to get a nice card cash, the cash back on this card because of we could pay for the recycling, but we don't do that anymore. So there's not a whole lot of money, but I want to take it out of there because it's 66 cents. And I will do that on my own time because I have my own account down there. But I will do that, but I need, I want to document that, even though it's only 66 cents. Every year I document it. Last year I think it was 69 cents or something like that. I just did it on a Saturday and on my way to running errands. So that's what this is about, to take it from Members First account and put it into the Mid-Penn Bank. And I'll just add it to a deposit and add the 66 cents and make sure that it's itemized.
Okay, make a motion to approve resolution 2310. Do we have a second? Brad, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 2311, transfer 2023 liquid fuels allocation CD to Penny and Bank, or is it within Penny and Bank?
It's in Bank of Landisburg now, and it will be going to Penny and Bank. It will go in the money market account there, and after that's in there and everything's transferred, I would like to change that at the state so that it could go directly to Penny and in our checking account there. Then it wouldn't have to go to Bank of Landisburg and then transfer. What Bank of Landisburg had an Easy Access CD, it was called a Choice CD. They no longer have that since the pandemic. So I can't put it in any kind of
Thing there, yeah.
So I'm just putting it in the Easy Access. And the amount is here, $124,406.92. And it would be going to 11-month Easy Access CD at 1.5%. For Easy Access. I could get more, but I have to tie it up, and I can't do that because we need it for the projects.
Okay, motion, is that a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion for 2311.
Brad, you second. All in favor? Aye. Resolution 2311 passes. Resolution 2312, transfer solid waste and ARP monies and guide rail monies to a special 4.3% CD at Penny Bank.
Yes, this one I can, this money I can, commit it a little bit and for a little bit longer term and get a better rate. They have a special 4.3%, whether you go from 15 to 25 months. So I'm proposing to take, the future guide rail monies in for 17 months, and that's approximately $21,800. There's an easy access municipal, rescue. It's in the rescue plan, it's 1.5%, it's in the easy access. These are all in easy access, there's no penalties. And that's going up for 15 months at 4.3%. And that way, next year we must allocate that money and hopefully use most of it. If not, it's not all paid out, it needs to be obligated by the end of next year. So that will get us considerably much more interest for 15 months on over $100,000. And then the solid waste CD is $23,785, and I'm just going to put that in for 25 months because we also have two other CDs that are accumulating interest. So I can commit this one to 25 months at 4.3%. That will earn us some interest to help continue to insulate the solid waste fund. And I estimated just on those three CDs that in just 1 year, I didn't figure the 3 months and 6 months and then, the second year on the solid waste CD. But just in 1 year, we will accumulate approximately over $4,300. So I think it's a good move.
Motion to approve resolution 2312. Brad makes the motion.
I'll second.
John second, all in favor? Aye. Resolution 2312 is passed. Moving on to new business. Resolution 2313 revised the fee schedule per the 2023 budget.
Yes, we didn't do this in January. I think it was just an oversight, and it really didn't make much difference because we're only changing the zoning hearing board fees that were discussed at the budget meetings and were budgeted according to that increase. So it's going from $750 for an appeal for a variance or interpretation to have a hearing before them from $750 to $850. And that also includes application for conditional use or special exceptions. And an additional hearing beyond one night was $100, and I bumped that up to $150 because everything has gone up. The zoning hearing board attorney's fees have gone up, and you just never know how long you're going to be involved in. Sonographer. That's the only thing that is going up, is the section involving the zoning hearing board. Everything else is staying the same. You're welcome to look at this, other than changing the dates and stuff.
Driveway permit guy's making a fortune. It's in another world.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's a quiet session.
Make a motion to adopt resolution 2313 for the second.
Oh,
Go ahead, John.
no.
Brad second.
I'll second.
Sean? You in favor?
All in favor, aye, yeah.
Okay. Okay. The salt contract, I have that here, and I did pass that around for signatures, if you guys want to sign it. The salt contract is through CoStars.
Do I have a Daisy or who has it?
No, it's right here.
Oh.
I just have the paper. I can go in and, I've already actually, I don't want to forget this if something would happen. So I've already gone in, I put in what was there last year. But you have to approve that, and I can change it up to March 15th. So this is for the August 23 to July 24 season, so next winter season. Right now salt's over $88 a ton. And what we had last year was, we had 140 tons. And so you're obligated legally to purchase at least 60% of the stated needs, but you can purchase up to 140%. Say you had a really bad blizzard year, you can purchase up to 140%. So, do you want to stay with 140?
Well, if we have our bin, if we get another load, we'll have it pretty much full for this year.
Yeah, we're going to get another
Okay,
load.
yep. So hopefully we don't get a whole lot and then we'll have it full.
No.
Yeah, so that's what.
So you probably know better than anyone, Brad.
Yeah.
How do you want to leave it the same as last year? Or?
So just leave it at 140.
Yeah, then we can still purchase more.
How much over could we go if we need to?
140%.
140%.
Yeah, so we can go over if we have to.
Yes.
So,
The one year we did.
right. Yep.
Is that a motion, Brad?
Yep.
Okay.
Make a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Okay.
That's up to 100. People would if we don't ever need that.
Yeah, so,
Yeah, well, you figure that we get about 22, 23 tons
Right.
tracks or whatever. So every time it comes in, you're getting about 23 tons.
Right.
Oak Grove Cemetery mowing contract, so,
They didn't have it, but,
yeah, oh, okay, that's.
So you just would be appointing him,
he wants to still continue to do
and then I would get him to sign. I don't even have the contract drawn up because I didn't know for sure if we were appointing Eddie or not at the same price. In fact, that's what we budgeted, $120.
Okay, and how many do we typically bring to?
10 or 11.
How is he called out? I mean, do we
Yeah, he
indicate to
just
him?
does it as needed.
Yeah, he keeps an eye on it.
He's like this normal.
Sometimes we really can't get out for rain.
Right.
We even have trouble with the park sometimes with that. So I guess that it was just to ask if you still want to have Ed Lingel do it and that $120. And then we always limit it that he can't, he would have to get board approval to do over 12 mowings.
Right.
I think is what it said.
We don't have that contract yet, do we?
No, I don't, I have it, but I didn't put it together.
For 2020.
Right.
Yeah, I have that motion, approve that contract,
You
we
can
won't
make
be
it
signing, yeah,
conditional.
conditional, yeah,
Okay.
because we don't have it in front of us, so.
Right.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Do we have a second, all in favor? Aye.
Okay, so that's with Ed Lingel,
Ed Lingle, 120 for mowing,
120,
or up to 11.
up to 11.
Well, she said 10 or 11, so
Yeah.
which is it?
I think it's 11,
I think we gave him 12, but he only normally.
Right.
So whatever you want, we'll put in the contract.
Put 11 and then if he
Up to
needs to
11,
whatever,
and
then
if
he can
needed.
just see us, right?
Like the one year, I know there was some extra cleanup when that
Right. That's
high
all.
winds came
Right.
through, so they
So
had
you
to
have to
clean up.
do that.
Okay, we're good?
Yeah, that's,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's cool.
Okay.
Did you say all in favor?
Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Did
Yeah.
Did you go? Okay.
No, that's
Okay.
what I was
Can
gonna
do-
say, there's much discussion, I was wondering if all that stuff, so. yeah.
Okay, so
And it was 11 was what was put in that. right?
you can make it
In-
whatever,
in
you
the
can say
motion, it was
10 if
11.
you want, but-
I agree.
I think
I'm
we
just
agree.
saying for right now.
Yes,
11.
11, yes.
11.
Thank you,
Okay.
thank you
It
for.
takes about 11 to do it.
I'm sure it will, for the season, as long as the season is.
Okay, moving on to item D, so approved partial payment to SEK, and that was was that $8,000?
It was $8,000, I have an invoice, and it will be due before the next March meeting, so I would do that with my interim bills, but we have a contract. The total contract for this year is $13,500, and they're asking for a partial payment of each
Motion to approve payment of that payment.
during the interim bill.
For the interim bills, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Brad, or I'm sorry, Sean second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Payment is approved, moving on to item E.
I think you have it, Jim. I had it laying there beside you. It was to the side. It was sitting there to the side. It was probably in there somewhere. I should have kept it, I guess. And I don't have, I know I put it there in here, so.
Need more files or fewer files? One or two? Shoot.
It didn't get gathered in. I don't
I saw Sean looking at it earlier. He was,
Where's
Put
that
out,
old
yeah.
one
Yeah, I
started
see that,
at?
yeah.
Did you see that? It was high in Perry County and Butler County, Cambridge County. You don't have it?
I do not.
There's something laying on the
There's
floor.
something-
No, yeah, that's how
That's
I
not it.
know things I don't.
That's how he knows that's not it.
Yeah, hey, thank you.
It was on the table, I'm sorry. That's it. Thank you.
Yeah, planning commission minutes.
No, it's not on your magazine, no.
No.
I have no idea where it went. I should, from now on, I need to go in here, but no, I don't see it. It was approved by plan and you were there.
Well, we approved it, so.
It's up to
Well,
you if you
we
want.
don't have it here.
But you don't
in front
have
of us,
a
So
copy of
we
it.
But it was
probably
supposed
move
to
it to
be
the next.
presented by March first is what the NPC says.
Have it somewhere around here.
You want me to grab?
Would you please?
All right.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Hey Daisy,
Oh my gosh.
young lady here was correct.
Come on now.
See, Sean, you're trying to pin it on you.
Yeah, that's okay.
I was waiting for Sean to take
Yeah,
it.
but who really dropped that on the floor back there?
Yeah. So now,
He threw you under that.
Say, are we filming for the camera?
threw
The main thing
myself.
was, it was good. You went back, you said, you know what, I better take
I don't
it.
know.
At least you look.
Did Daisy hear?
Probably.
Eric, if you don't mind.
Why not?
Yeah, my apologies.
Yeah, really. No.
No realtor does anything.
No, I did not.
Unruly taste.
Actually, I don't think anybody did, so.
We're good.
Sorry, dude.
Thanks, my apologies.
I'm gonna sign your petition before you.
Yeah.
So, what did I
Take
think?
it with
I
you.
thought it was-
Thank you.
Losing it. Okay.
So, make a motion to approve, the annual report by our planning commission. In a second. Well, you,
I don't know.
since Sean is a member.
I better not, I better
You want to
not.
have.
Yeah, I
I'll
better,
second. Yep.
Okay.
I better
Sean's gonna
abstain.
abstain.
I just abstain, just to like.
Okay. The report, I'm sorry,
All in favor?
yep, all in favor?
Aye. Yep.
And the report is approved. Now,
Now you can,
I'll
now you
go
can do
back
that.
there.
Now you can
Thanks.
file it.
Thanks, Kim. You did cause me to take it. All right, moving on to, request for proposals for spring bulk cleanup.
Okay, I gave you each a copy of the two that we received. Did you get that? Because I figured you'd want to see it, so I gave you each a copy there.
Tiger and,
And
Penn Waste.
Penn Waste, I was surprised.
You go.
They're a little salty though. They're all going up. I mean, I don't know what isn't.
So we've got two bids one from Penn Waste, one from Tiger. First, Penn Waste is delivery fee for empty dumpsters is $100, hauling fee for full dumpsters is $380, total cost per pull is $380. Cost of tipping fee per ton is $89, and two scrap containers, no charge. $100 per can, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so it's,
So they're not providing it.
yeah, they're $100 for each.
So,
one.
yeah, so we're looking at Penn Waste is 100 versus no charge, 380 versus 230, 380 versus 230 on another. 89 per ton is where they're just a little bit cheaper. They're, yeah, I'm sorry, for tipping fee is $89 per ton versus 95 for Tiger. Scrap containers, which we use 2 or 3 of those. Yeah, so, would be $100 per container from Penn Waste and no cost. From Tiger, additional fuel surcharge, none from Penn Waste, $25 per haul. So we're still ahead of the game.
You're still
with
ahead of the
Tiger.
game, yeah.
So I'll make a motion to accept contract with Tiger Trash. Do a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Contract is accepted with Tiger Trash for
Can I ask you a
spring
question?
cleanup. Yes, sir. Well, I'm sorry, can we wait till,
Sure.
yeah, if you don't mind, please. Thanks, Eric.
And I will get the paperwork ready for that.
Okay, so
And then
there's
Sean
nothing to
would
sign this evening.
Yeah,
That's the
yep,
solid.
yeah, just let me know.
Very good.
Let me know when you hook
This is
together.
my copy to keep.
Yes, that's your color, yeah.
Announcements, March 12th is daylight savings time, spring forward. April 7th is Good Friday, the office will be closed, but there is no change in trash collection. The spring cleanup is Friday, May 5th, from 6 a.m. till 1:45 in the afternoon. And then Saturday, May 6th, 8 a.m. to 11:45 a.m. Nancy, are you gonna stand in the cold, freezing rain again for us this year? And,
I probably will.
she was a real trooper. That was impressive. She was
We've had
from a
worse
very-
weather.
That was a tough one. Thank you for that.
You're right.
Did great.
She said she enjoyed it though.
It's different.
Well, I got to talk to a lot of
You
people I
get to
haven't
see
seen.
people you don't see for a while.
Moving on to approval and payment of the bills. Nancy?
General fund check 17586, 17613, in the amount of $14,998.61. There were no expense checks voided. Payroll checks 8169 to 8174, in the amount of $4,547.62. Payroll checks 8175 to 8179, in the amount of $4,320.92. There were no payroll checks voided during processing.
That's it? That was quick.
That's it.
All right. Make a motion to approve payment of the bills. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
One second. All in favor?
Aye.
Payment of the bills is approved. Last portion of citizen participation.
Yeah, I'll go then.
John?
Okay. Continuing from what I asked last meeting, since I didn't get an answer, mainly from the solicitor, I was wondering what is needed approved at a public meeting prior to being contracted work. So I was wondering if I could get that answer.
I'm sorry, John, your question one more time?
Yeah. Last meeting I asked, why things aren't getting approved at public meetings to get work done, like the guide rail, and the only comment was, well, they were approved at the budget meeting. So when you were doing budgeting. So I was wondering, since the solicitor didn't get to answer, I was wondering if he could answer that for us, since he's much more the determining factor in this, I would figure.
What's your next question?
Okay.
Or comment, sorry.
Yeah. My next question is, did we get alternate quotes for the guide rail installation on Lamb's Gap, or was it just Chemung's?
Continue, John. We'll wait till you
Okay.
get to the end of that.
Well, that's the last of my questions. Then I just have a statement at the end then. So I don't know if you want to answer those, or you want me to just roll right in the statement.
Go on with your statement.
Okay. All right, my last thing is I wanted to bring it to the attention of the board that I made a right to know request back 40 days now ago. I made that request, which was approximately, I would assume, about 20 documents, all from the previous year. It was expected that 15 of those documents would be about employee expenses, so likely all in the same file. The township took the entire 5 days to respond that they needed a 30-day extension. And then on the last day of the 30-day extension, a response by the township was made on a Saturday requesting that an appointment be made to see the documents. According to the law, public records, and I quote, public records, legislative records, or financial records shall be available for access during the regular business hours of an agency. And per the township website that was only updated last year, your normal operating hours are 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. So, I showed up to the township building after that response on Saturday. I indicated, hey, I'll be there Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday during your operating hours. So I showed up at the township building on Monday around 2:15 to see the documents, and I was denied access to them. The township open records officer noted the documents were not ready for review because she had been so busy, even after having 5 weeks to gather the documents, which is the legal deadline. She also could not cite any part of the right to know law that states an appointment is required when I asked her multiple times. So, my question is when are the documents required to be inspectable? And is it when the response is made? Because otherwise she's just getting another indefinite extension. So, I guess it's kind of a question, but my comment to you guys is this township makes documents so hard to get. Whether it's delay, deny, oh, sorry, we don't have them ready. Even though the law doesn't state that, oh, you have to have an appointment. So, yeah.
Does that end your comments, John?
Yeah, I think the last thing I have to say, which I'm going to say, is it sure feels like the secretary, who's also the open records officer, runs this township like she's the sole owner, like, of a business, and can do whatever she wants, whether it's illegal, immoral, or unethical. She knows there will be no repercussions from any supervisor sitting at this table. So I wanted to put that out there to you guys. That's the way I'm certainly feeling.
Illegal, immoral, or what?
Unethical.
Okay.
Thank you. So, that's all my comments and questions, so I'm hoping I get answers at least for the first two, or maybe the third one even.
Well, keeping in mind that they're comments, John, this is not gonna be a deliberation back and forth. You did direct your first question to our solicitor, so if it's appropriate to, otherwise it's a comment. I mean, to me, it's a comment.
It is a comment, yeah. Not something that there's no response to that.
I'd like to make the comment then, how do you guys know what's right and wrong? If he can't, does he tell you what's right and wrong about how to make public
Like I said,
places?
John, this is not gonna be a back and forth, so thanks for your comment.
This is why, yep, okay. And did you get alternate quotes on the guide rail? That's the other question, so I didn't know if you were gonna answer it, so I just wanted to bring it up.
Thanks for your comment.
So that's a no, okay.
Okay. Is there any other public comments at this time? Hearing none, I'll make a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second? All in favor? Aye. Thanks everyone for coming out.